Hello, everybody, and welcome to KamenRider Blackman. Alright, I just got done filming a worst list, and now I feel a lot better now, or just a bit to do my first video idea that I was going to do. Now, if you remember a while ago, I did a video for the top 10 worst villains in Power Rangers, and so doing a best list has sort of been hanging over my head for a while now, so here it is, the top 10 best villains in Power Rangers. And with that said, I only have two honorable mentions. So now, my first honorable mention is Ecliptor from In Space. He was a good villain, and his story alone is what makes another thing about In Space so memorable. It was with him being so conflicted between his duties and loyalty as one in Dark Spectre's army, and his relationship with Astronema as a surrogate father. And so that part really got to me. Yeah, well, I do like that part. And my second honorable mention is only in season 1, Rita Repulsa, because that's when she was absolutely a threat. But now, moving on to the actual list, starting off at number 10, Heckle from Dino Supercharge. Now, in my opinion, between Heckle and Sledge, Heckle is a better villain because of how entertaining he is. Because Sledge was just more brooding and straightforward, whereas compared to Heckle, where he's more conniving, always plotting something, and actually, he was a lot more closer to getting the Energems more than Sledge, with actually being able to infiltrate the Dino Cafe for a short while, but he was still more closer than Sledge ever was with using what he had, what information he had, and just so yeah. To me, Heckle was he was a better and more entertaining villain because Sledge just had one trait. While Heckle, on the other hand, he was conniving, mischievous, sinister, and threatening. And you can tell about that from the first episode of Dino Supercharge, for when he declared himself in charge. And for some reason, no one wanted to stop that, not even Fury. But, moving on, number 9, Diabolico from Lightspeed Rescue. Diabolico, to me, is the only villain from Lightspeed Rescue that's really all that memorable, that stands out. Because when Queen Benshiro wasn't there, he was the one that was in charge. Not to mention his story about being tied with the Titanium Ranger just makes him stand out a lot more. Because it's like a plan that he had brooding for years. And even after that, where he in a way redeemed himself at the very end of the show, that's that alone's pretty priceless. And I'll definitely give Diabolico that. What I'd like to see, and the thing about it now, what I've wanted to see a bit more between him and Ryan, I guess a little bit, with how they seemed at the end. But you get what you get. We'll still take it there. And so that's number 9. Number 8, Dark Honda from In Space. Because this is a real entertaining villain. One who clearly gives no shits. Dark Honda, he does whatever he wants. It doesn't care who's a casualty in it, and does whatever, because he's originally a bounty hunter who was actually able to be mischievous enough to be a part of Astronema's forces, and he just pisses off Ecliptor just more and more whenever he can. But he was a villain who was in it and did whatever for himself, and that's good enough for me to want to have him on the list. So because he was not only was he a good, interesting villain, he had also a good rivalry with Red, as well as being a good antithesis for Ecliptor. But now, number 7, Frax from Time Force. Because, spoiler alert right now, Ranzik's not on this list at all because he's too much of an archetype. Like, in my opinion, like, Ranzik is all about. Yes, like, Ranzik is a villain. Like, he's a villain due to his experience with racism. And yet, he really does nothing about it except for cause more havoc and whatnot. Frax, on the other hand, a villain of racism because of Ranzik, because he used to be a human who actually gave a crap about Ranzik and helped treat him and his condition, and Ranzik thanked him by killing him. And so, yeah, and everything Frax does is just showing how competent that robots actually are, even if he did used to be human. And to me, he's a much better villain than Ranzik because he is a real villain fueled by racism and actually did something around it. Ranzik didn't. He just wanted to cause chaos just for the sake of causing chaos. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, we're supposed to try to feel something for Ranzik, but you sort of don't, or at least I don't, because the only reason why he surrendered in the first place is because he realized he accidentally hurt his daughter. Like, knowing Frax's story, I could really feel something with him, and you can understand why he is how he is. And for a majority of Time Force, he actually does conspire and plot against Ranzik, and most of those times they're successful, which is why I like Frax like a lot more. But now, number 6, Lord Zed. Now, Lord Zed as a villain, yeah, he later became comic relief, but he was still, from the moment he stepped on, he was a threat. And from so on there, he still stayed threatening with his plans, really being close to actually beat the Rangers as well, because he was actually able to truly get rid of Tommy's powers. That was impressive. As well as actually do damage to the Zords, which then caused the Rangers to get the Thunder Zords, because his magic is a lot more stronger than Rita's, but when combined together, it's a lot more powerful. So that is impressive. Which sort of brings me to another thing right now that I just realized. Season 1, growing technique, Rita had to throw her staff. Season 2, growing technique, Lord Zed just had a bomb, then threw it down there. Season 3, Zed and Rita just held both their staffs and made the monster of the week grow there. That I just realized, why couldn't you have done that before? I know stock footage, but that's just a thought in mind. They at least could have kept both those parts or done, that's just me. But still, Lord Zed, still an entertaining and threatening villain to enjoy, because even his look is a bit scary for kids. And also, his Z staff is actually a snake. Number 5, the Psycho Rangers, because these evil motherfuckers are entertaining as all hell, and they look demonic as all hell as well. And unlike their counterpart, they come back, and I'm not talking about in their own season, because the Psycho Rangers, these are one of the best parts of In Space, with how insane they are, with how insane they were, how conniving they actually were to find and destroy their color counterpart, and just with how hell bent they were, and then learning the truth about for the more they fight, the more Dark Spectre is bound to die. First of all, how the hell do you do that? And second of all, which leads me into number 4, Astronema. Now, Astronema is such a good villain because once again, she came up with a plan to get rid of Dark Spectre so that she can take over. But even before then, she was an entertaining and can hold. She was an entertaining, can hold her own, and took no one's shit and gave no shit villain. Because up to that point, other villains before her, like Divatox and Rita, they were more jokey, and Astronema wasn't. She was dead serious and thought, get the job done, and maybe I won't kill you. And so, very impressive there. Her revelation was just so, and her revelation, it's just so touching. But in her revelation alone, it's so touching, and it makes her a better character as well as a great villainess. But now, number 3, Vengex from RPM, because I'm sorry, he is the only villain on this list who's actually completed the goal of taking over the Earth. Like, literally. Yeah, he ends up being destroyed at the very end, but I'm sorry. How many villains can actually say that they took over the Earth and succeeded? Mind you, it led into the show, but yeah, he actually won. And not only that, the thought of it alone is still very fucking scary. That the fact that the world's been taken over and he's the reason why. A straight up computer virus. Like, a straight up computer virus took over the world. That's a scary thought. Because even when he was just a voice, or in this case, a pole with a red eye, he was still very scary. And he showed how merciless and irredeemable he actually was as a villain through his actions, even when he got a body. Just depth of Vengex's character is shown through his actions, and even when he just wasn't a body yet, it still worked, in my opinion. Because I'm sorry, once again, he took over the world and he was a computer virus. Oh shit. As if actual computer viruses can actually do that. But now, number 2, Trakina. Now, Vengex, he showed depth of his character through his actions. Trakina shows actual depth and her character and so on, because we saw her grow from this spoiled brat into a powerful, competent, doesn't give a shit, and gives no shit villainess. Because yes, she will show some care, I guess, for the one villain that trained her. I forgot his name. That's because it was such a personal tie-in, which is her reason for stepping up to the plate to begin with. She saw her own father die, and from that point, stood up and said, no. Like, this is what I like to see in a female villain that is so impressive. Someone who gives someone who is truly evil, gives no shits, but is an actual competent villain and shows how competent she is, and to an entire extent. Because, damn, she showed that she was worthy of being the main villain. But number one is scary, threatening, competent, and an evil, straight up genius. And that is Mesogog from Dino Thunder. Because I'm sorry, this is creepy as all hell. He takes shit from no one and does not give a shit. He wants to bring the world back to the era of the dinosaurs, no matter what. Which, by the way, that is a very straight up weird goal. Most villains want to rule the world. Other villains want to destroy the world. No, he wants to bring the world back to when it was barren and ruled by Jurassic creatures. Because he feels that dinosaur genetics are more stronger and more superior than humans. To which I can look at him as a real villain fueled by racism. Once again, unlike Ranzik. And so, yeah, and not to mention the Dr. Heckle and Hive relationship he had. Like, yeah, that was really good. Which is why he is number one on this list. And that is the best list for the top 10 villains in Power Rangers. I feel so much better now doing this video. For one, I finally have it out of the way. And actually get it out there. And two, because it's been over my head for a while that I was going to do it at some point. And now I actually can and have. So now I can move on to other stuff. And also, the first time I did do this list, I feel like I went on for too long, and I don't know, something about it just made me bored. So I did a worse list. Felt a little bit better because I was just shouting at stuff that I didn't like. Then I did this, and I was like, okay, this is much better. And yeah, this is much better. But thank you again for watching. Please do not forget to like, subscribe. Be sure to tell your friends about KamenRider Blackman. And I will see you guys next time. Oh, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat. Now, I'm debating right now if I'm going to start a Twitter account so I can try to get more subscribers and get more viewers to the channel. That's just an idea. Not too sure if I'll do it yet. But let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.